I find it absolutely wild how much people are still stuck using emotion in the crypto market. We went from some exciting highs about a week ago, excitement for what comes next for the markets, to now these low doldrums, the people saying it's over and that it's done and we're just going to keep falling. And, maybe we do see some lower prices from here, but understand that that's exactly what they want you to think. They're trying to get you to capitulate. Now, I want to talk about that briefly in this video. We need to look at a couple other things that need to be monitored very closely. Are we going to get these points of rejection here? And we also need to talk about this extension of the 4-year cycle into a 5-year cycle. It's something we've discussed at length, but Raoul Paul was actually talking about that in a video here recently as well. So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, that bell. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So what people need to understand, first of all, is that things are getting better and better and better in the markets from a macro standpoint, from a supply standpoint, from a conviction standpoint. These are all working in our favor. Not a macro standpoint. Understand what I'm talking about is global liquidity has been on the rise. There's money getting injected into the markets. Rates are coming down. Inflation is somewhat stagnant now. Well, and what I mean by that is we're sticking around that 2% target if you look at trueflation data. So this is a very different time than what we were seeing earlier this year. It's a very different time than what we were seeing last fall. Okay. Things are actually starting to get in full swing in the market, and the large entities in the space, they know that. They're trying to manipulate you. They're trying to suppress the market. They're trying to get you to capitulate. And anyone right now that is feeling negative about where the market's at, you do not understand where the market is headed. Big embrace is on the way. It's why you keep seeing these reports about all these large enterprises that are accumulating in a massive way, that have just been smashing the buy button and just taking advantage while some retail capitulates. That's the normal thing that you would see, especially at a market in its infancy. It doesn't mean that we can't go lower, but it means long-term, there's a very clear trajectory. And maybe that is just a week away. Maybe that's months away. Maybe that's years away. But understand that, again, this is a long-term game. This isn't get rich quick. This is about building long-term generational wealth. Okay. That's the first thing that you need to understand. And obviously this isn't to guarantee or financial advice or anything like that. But right now the market is just going through some of those fits that we have gone through many times before, right before we go to some new exciting highs. Okay. So that's the first thing I have to say. Now, there are a couple things we need to watch very closely here. BTC dominance is at a point where it could see a rejection. It's fighting its 50-day moving average, just as it did back here on Monday. And as long as we get a rejection here, that could be very promising for altcoins like ADA and many others in the crypto market. All right. If we do surge up to our 100-day moving average, it sucks. That would be another point where we could see a potential rejection. We could see this obviously rejection at about what is that, about 59% or so, about 60%. Another couple ranges to watch very closely. But what I'm also watching here too is assets outside of BTC and Ethereum are starting to show a little bit more conviction than they have in the past. First of all, we're holding some higher lows, which is a great sign. Supply is diminishing very quickly in the crypto market when it comes to altcoins. This is why you're seeing dominance remain strong. For example, we talked about that breakout in ADA dominance all the way back here in the middle of August. That breakout has been holding and holding and holding, even as we've seen this kind of retracement here. All right. You guys can see ADA dominance still sits broken out above trend, which is a great sign. We're doing a retest on this yet again, and maybe we get a little bit of a push just like we did in the early part of September. This frankly would be a great bounce spot for the crypto market. When you're looking at a lot of the indicators, a lot of the metrics, they're suggesting a bounce from here. We're at the bottom of our Bollinger Bands too. I'm not sure if anybody uses Bollinger Bands or looks at this. Whoa, what the heck did I do? Weird. Sometimes I press things on TradingView that I don't understand, but right now we're sitting at the bottom of our Bollinger Bands. A lot of times we come down and test this, we get to push the opposite direction, push the opposite direction. It doesn't always take place, but we're sitting on some strong levels, and again, hopefully those levels continue to hold, but understand that we are very likely headed into a 5-year cycle. I've talked about a super cycle since all the way back in late 2022, early 2023. I've talked about this running a lot longer than people expect. And when we look at a lot of the charts and the metrics, things have been elongated. And we've talked about the top being probably sometime in early 2026. We've talked about April, if I remember correctly, of 2026. Raoul Pal actually talking about this now becoming a 5-year cycle with a peak probably in Q2. April is Q2 of 2026. That would all make a lot of sense. Doesn't mean it has to happen for sure, but eventually we're going to get to a point too where we're not having these traditional cycles. Again, it's like I've talked about, global liquidity is rising, rates are coming down. You're seeing a lot of things right now that you would normally see before the market starts to get very exciting. Again, we still haven't seen a big rotation of capital. And maybe, and one thing that people hadn't even considered, and something that I didn't even consider until I was looking at this morning, maybe right now you are seeing some liquidity rotation in the crypto market. The reason why is Aster, not even sure what it is or what it does, has climbed to a 36 rank overall in the crypto market, up to a $3.32 billion in market cap. Look at what it's done just since the 17th. Well, coincidentally enough, that is when this retracement kind of started, around the 18th, 18th, 19th, right in there, right as Aster started to pick up steam. Maybe we're getting a little bit of a liquidity suction, just like we did when the Trump and Melania meme coins launched. Maybe I'm wrong, right? But the thing that people need to remember is you have to think long term. You have to think about big embrace. We're going through some pretty big shakeups in the crypto market right now that are gearing us towards a time where crypto is, again, validated, where it's embraced by the masses, where you're seeing governments and enterprises utilize blockchain tech. That's where we have a huge opportunity here for ADA and Cardano and many others in the space. And, if you want to capitulate and dump your bag, by all means, go ahead. Okay. If you want to complain and cry, that's fine too. But understand that you are not slowing down what is coming. We have some very exciting times ahead. Whether we get ups or downs from here, you're not going to slow down and stop what is coming down the pipeline. So that's all I got for you guys. I appreciate you as always. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.